Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now I'm sorry it's been a while since I posted a video. I've not had the best of luck over the last 3 months. Started off with a bad back, as you saw in the last video that I posted. Then I had a really bad chest infection, and then that led on to me getting COVID, and things have just been going from bad to worse. But I'm glad to say they are seem to be getting a little bit better now. I feel that I'm getting my mojo back for photography, and with this weather that we've got today, as you can see, it's a lovely misty day. We don't often get the mist like this for extended periods in the Wharfe Valley, but we are at the moment, so I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to go out with my Pentax LX, and I've loaded it as you can see here with Kodak Tri-X, and I'm going to develop it in Adox. I think it's XT-3 developer. It's a clone of a Kodak Xtol developer. I've used Xtol before in the past with Tri-X and got some great results, and this developer is supposed to be a clone of the Kodak Xtol, so I'm going to try one of the reasons why I'm trying this is because the Kodak version of it, you have to mix it up in 5 litre batches. With the Adox XT-3 you can make it up in litres, which for me is a lot more economical. I don't waste as much. I know I can replenish. I could replenish the XT3 like I used to do with Xtol, but I'll be honest with you, I do get mixed up, you know, when I have to replenish the developer, etc. So I just prefer now to, for the amount of film that I shoot these days, is to mix my developer up. Once I've done it, throw it away. So I'm going to mix it up 1:1. So that's you know, 1 part developer to 1 part water. So it'll be for the 35mm film in my small tank. I'm going to use 400mm just to make sure I get the film covered in the spiral. So it's going to be 200ml of XT3 and 200ml of water, and develop it, and that's called 1:1. So we'll get out now. I'm going to go up higher up on the Chevy and see if we can get some atmospheric shots in the mist, and then probably move down back into Otley and take some pictures there and just see how this combination works, the XT3 and the Tri-X. I've also had a problem with my Nikon 9000 scanner. In fact, that's gone now. It broke down. I could not get it going this time, so I had a deal with a guy on eBay, and he bought that off me as not working, give me a really good part exchange, and I ended up buying the Nikon 5000 ED scanner. So I'm really excited to see. I've not used it yet, but to see how that performs, and this will be the first sort of films that's gone through this scanner. So I'll just show you how that works, and see the results that we get from it. So right, we'll get off now and see what we can find to photograph in this beautiful mist. Right, I'm back, and I'm knackered after not doing going out with the camera that much lately. That were hard work, but I must admit I really did enjoy it. You know, I couldn't believe that the GoPro batteries died on me, all 3 of them. I thought they were fully charged, but they can't have been. And then when I switched to the iPhone, there wasn't a lot of power in that, and that only lasted a couple of minutes. But I did get most of the footage I wanted to do, and any of the pictures that I took after the iPhone died, I'll show you those. I think I only took about 3 or 4 pictures. But then I moved down into Otley Town Centre, into the churchyard there, and rounded about and took some more pictures. The idea of this really is just to see how the Adox XT3 performs with Tri-X, and see if I get the results that I used to do using the Kodak Xtol and Tri-X. I hope I do, because the Adox is a lot more user friendly in the respect that you can mix up just litres of it. With the Kodak Xtol you have to mix up 5 litres, and if you're not a big user of film, that really takes some getting through, and you can tend to waste some of it. So I like the idea of just being able to mix up 1000ml and work my way through that. It's an easy developer, it's a powder developer to mix up, the same as Xtol. You just put it in a bowl of water, round about 25, anywhere between 20 and 30 degrees centigrade. pour the Part A powder into the water, stir it up until it's completely dissolved, which it does quickly. Then pour in Part B, stir that up until that's dissolved, and then just top it up to 1,000 mils, and then you've got your 1,000 mils of working solution. Now, as I say, I normally with Xtol work at a 1-to-1 dilution. In other words, I dilute the Xtol, 1 part Xtol with 1 part water. So if I'm going to use say 400 mils, I'll put 200 mils of working solution from that litre I've made up, and then top it up with 200 mils of water to bring it up to the 400 mils. And once the development's finished, I can throw that away and then just start again with fresh stuff when I come to do the next film. So we'll see how it goes. So I'll let the camera, as I say, stabilise. It's starting to dry out now. Go make a cup of tea, come down, mix up these chemicals, and get the film developed, and then we can have a look. I'll also show you how this new Nikon 5000 ED scanner performs. If it's as good or anywhere as good as the Nikon, or Nikon as you might call it, 9000 ED, then I'll be a happy bunny. So we'll just see. So get the cup of tea, come back down, mix up the developer, then get the film developed, and see if all the pictures have turned out okay. So this is the negatives, all sleeved up. They're all looking pretty good. The exposures on that. That's one sheet. I've shot 2 rolls of the Tri-X. By the way, the Tri-X expired in 2018, but it had been stored in the fridge, so I gave it a little bit more exposure than I normally would, because you do get a slight filming speed increase when you develop it 1-to-1. But I reduced the film speed to 320, and it seems to have actually worked. So there's the negatives. Very pleased with that. Right, I'm very pleased with the look of those negatives. The density just looks about right. I had no problems with the development at all. Now, if you're a first-time user like me using the XT3 developer, and you're trying to find different times for different films on the internet, you're going to find it difficult because there's not that many listed. I think because it's a clone of Kodak Xtol, just follow the Xtol times. Now, I opted to go to the Kodak website. I looked for the data sheet on Kodak Xtol, looked for the small tank development part of the data sheet, and on that for Kodak Tri-X at 1-to-1 20 degrees centigrade, it gave me 9 minutes. Now, as regards agitation, it doesn't really tell you there. That's up to you and how it suits your needs and what you want from the film. So I went with me gut feeling, and I agitated for the first 10 seconds and then 2 gentle agitations every 30 seconds, and it looks like it's given me the density that I wanted. I didn't want to create too much density to lose the feel and atmosphere of the pictures that I took in the mist, and I feel that the agitation that I've used, I've just got it right with that. So we'll see when you see the pictures and see if you agree with me. So I'll move on now and just show you quickly the Nikon 5000 ED scanner, or the Nikon ED 5000 scanner in operation, and then we'll move on and look at the actual video of me taking the pictures. Right, before I show you the actual video of me on the Chevin with the camera taking the pictures in the mist and then the pictures around Otley, I thought I'd just show you the Nikon 5000 ED scanner that I've just got in operation, how quick it scans the pictures. To actually load the film strip into the scanner, it can be done in different ways with this scanner, but I'm using the front feeder at the moment. Just push it in and it automatically pulls the film strip in, and then let's say it will batch scan, but for this exercise I'll just say pick a frame, frame 2, and then click preview. Now the scanner will find that whole frame without cutting it off, so you'll get the full 35mm frame. It's called the offset, and then it'll do a low resolution preview. And as you can see, I'm using ViewScan Professional that runs this scanner, does a great job. and I don't do any adjustments within the scanning software. I scan it as a raw TIFF file and do all the editing and contrast control in Photoshop. So that's the preview. Just select the area that I want to scan, and in this case the whole of the negative, and then click scan. Let's see how long it takes to scan this file at 4000 dpi optical resolution. It's looking good so far, looking very sharp. I'm liking the grain. It all looks accentuated at the moment as it's scanning, but once it's scanned you'll see how it alters. So that's it, that's the full 4000 dpi scan. It took just over 40 seconds, so that's not bad. So you'll soon whip through a 36 exposures in no time with this scanner. The one thing with this scanner you have to be very careful with is after you've developed your film, that you try and get as less or least dust on it as possible, because this scanner is brutal. It'll show every little bit of dust or scratches on the negative, so you have to be really careful. It didn't seem to be like that in the Nikon 9000 ED scanner, but I think the light source on this is a lot stronger. It's much like using a condenser enlarger in a dark room, where they show every little speck of dust, etc., as against a diffuser enlarger. So it's just something you've got to be aware of. Just looking at this scan, zooming in, you can see that the actual stalks here that are focused on are sharp, and I just love the way the Xtol and the Tri-X have created this lovely textural quality in the grain, and the Nikon 5000 has focused on that perfectly. So I'm very happy with that. So that's how it works. That's how quick it'll scan 4000 dpi 35mm frame. So let's move on now and look at the actual video itself. Right, quite like this shot. Do it in a portrait format, use the 28mm. I'm going to use an orange filter. I tend to use that in the mist as it adds this nice contrast to the image. Looking down this path, so it's just you know, it'll the path will fade away into the mist, and we've got this pillar at the side. So that's one shot I'm going to take, but I'm going to have to wait till the sun, and it has done. I've watched it. It keeps poking its head through the clouds. Can't see it at the moment. And then another shot of these pylons. Again, I'm still going to wait for the sun to poke its head through. As I was walking down before they got the GoPro out, it was there, so I'll just wait about, and I'm sure it will do, because it seems to be thinning, does the fog. So I'll show you those pictures if I turn out. I'll move on now, see if we can find something else. So I managed to get those two shots with the sun just shining slightly through the cloud. Just makes it a bit more atmospheric. So I'm just going to move on now to the wooded part and see if I can get some nice pictures there. As I say, I've come out with a Pentax LX. It's a wonderful 35mm camera. The build quality is superb on it, and it's so easy to use. And the metering on this camera is absolutely superb. So it's only under extreme conditions that I've got to make any alteration by underexposing or overexposing. I cannot usually trust the meter on this camera. As I said before, I think I did, I'm going to using the orange filter on the lens. Fortunately, all the lenses I have in the Pentax range are all 49mm. So what filter fits one lens, it'll fit all the others, which is very, very handy. As I also said at the beginning of the video, the old Nikon 9000 D scanner that I've used for quite a number of years now. I've kept that scanner going over the years, trying to repair it. I've always have been able to do, but unfortunately this time there's nothing I could do with it. It was to do with the CCD sensor at the back. I'm sure it was that. So it needed somebody who could have had spare parts to move parts from one broken one to another to get a working model. So as I said, I got a deal from this guy on eBay. He gave me a really good part exchange for the 9,000, and I opted, rather than spending, I didn't want to spend thousands of pounds on another Nikon 9000. Or they are such a wonderful scanner because they do medium format as well as 35mm. I opted to go for the 35mm because the Epson V800 flatbed scanner doesn't do that bad a job on the larger negative sizes, such as the medium format and large format. So that's the route I've gone down. I thought about DSLR scanning, but for some reason, I don't know, I just seem to prefer scanning the film on a dedicated film scanner. So I'm really, as I say, excited to see how this goes with this new scanner and see what quality results. I am told that it'll probably give me better results than the 9000 scanner because it is dedicated to 35mm. So if it does, I'll be really happy because the 9000 ED was superb on 35mm. So if this is going to be better, well, I'm going to be a happy bunny with it. So we'll just move on and see what else we can see around here. It's a nice misty day, and these are the days you want to be out with your camera for black and white and get these atmospheric shots. Right, we'll move on. Now, I've taken this shot many times before. You might recognise it. I've taken it in snow, in winter last year, and never in a sort of misty conditions. And it's just nice now because I've got the sun poking its head through that cloud again. If you can just see it at the top there. So I think I'll take another picture of this. It's more of a silhouette-y sort of scene, but maybe closing on the wall. And just keep that sun within the frame, just to add some sort of dynamic look to it. So I think I'll take one at this sort of angle with the wall and then move back and get this lovely shape of this tree in. Again, I use a 28mm and an orange filter. On the lens, you'll see on this lens that there's some red markings, and if you line all those red markings, depending on what film speed you're using, I will get depth of field, what's in focus, from round about 5 feet to infinity, just by using those settings. So that's what I'm going to use. So basically, I don't have to focus the camera. So now I get that glow of that sun. So that's that one at that angle. Don't think it'll work in landscape mode, and then I don't think that will work in landscape format. So I'm going to move on now and take a longer shot, a wider shot in landscape format. Sun's disappeared, so I'm just going to have to wait a little bit till it comes out. See, just up there, cloud just keeps moving over it, so I'm going to have to be patient and just wait till I get that sun in. Right, got that. I took a couple of shots there, one using this distance scale and then one just focusing on the tree. Managed to get that little bit of sun in. Probably can't see it on GoPro. We've got some doggies after me now. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Richard, it's alright, come here. Richard!
You're alright. Oh dear. Again, this is another a picture that I've taken before, but it's got this lovely soft light to it. So again, I'm going to keep using the 28mm on the LX. It's a lovely little lens, and use this scale focus, this hyperfocal distance, to get the maximum depth of field out of the lens, and just go with the automatic exposure on the LX. As I say, it's a very accurate meter. Normally comes up with a really good exposure. So I'll take this picture and then just carry on moving down and see if we can find any more. I don't know if the fog, it keeps coming in and out, but it's really beautiful here at the moment. With some really nice light there now. So I'll take this and then we carry on. So I'm going to take another picture of these trees, but this time I've swapped the lenses from the 28 to the 135, just to give that compression and hopefully just to emphasise that mist more. So just depends what shutter speed I can get. I need at least 125 minimum steady to hold the 135, so we'll just see how we go on, and hopefully I can get some sort of image. The shutter speed at f4, I didn't want to go wide open with this at 3.5, was 125. So I tried to hold it as steady as possible, but ideally I'd have been better with a faster shutter speed, but fingers crossed I've held it with not too much shake, and I'll get some sort of a sharp picture, so I do like that. Got a picture of that runner running up towards the top there. Just might add a little bit more interest to the image. I don't know, you've just got to try these things. I'm trying to look at this angle now, more into the light. It's looking quite nice. See what we can find there. The one thing with 35mm is that you have that many frames that you can play about a little bit. You know, you can, if you're not sure, bracket your shots. Using medium format, you know, if you're using say 6x6, you've only got 12 exposures, so you have to be a lot more careful and thoughtful. And in some ways it makes you a better photographer, but 35mm does give you that freedom just to experiment that little bit more. And I think you'll find using 35mm you probably get more keepers at the end of the day than you will using a medium format camera in a lot of respects, because you know it just allows you to let yourself go a little bit and just try different things. So it's a great format to use. Right, I think I quite like this. I'm going to place this big rock in the foreground, and then we're going to get this the trees in the mist in the background. And for this I'm going to remove the viewfinder on the LX and fit the waist level finder, so I can get down looking down onto the camera that way, rather than sort of bending down this way. I think I'll get a better idea of the composition doing that. So I'll just put that viewfinder on. if I can find it. There we go, that's the waist level finder. So I'll just take this viewfinder off, that's a standard one, and then pop on the waist level finder. It's all awkward one-handed this. And just slide that on like that. Make sure it's the right position, and now I've got a waist level finder. So it just makes it easier for composition. This is the beauty of cameras like this, where you can change these viewfinders. So I'll be looking downwards like that into the picture. I don't know if you can see that there. So I'll get this set up and take the picture. Last shot. Put the normal finder back on now. And a little finder that. You can use the LX without the finder by looking down into the screen, but it's a little bit difficult, and plus you don't have the magnifier that you can pop up that helps you focus, but a little handy feature. I'm going to try that at some stage for what I call street photography, just using it firing from the hip, so to speak, and just looking down like you would in a TLR camera. I think it could be quite interesting. Now, I've taken this picture many times, especially in winter with the snow, etc. And I just love this composition. Sorry about turning the GoPro, but gives you an idea. But I think this time I'm just going to be patient and just hang about a while until I get somebody actually walking within that scene, and I think it'll just make a different picture from what I normally take. So I'm using again the 28mm, and I'll use it at the hyperfocal distance, so I'm not having to mess about focusing, just concentrating on the composition, etc. So I'll just wait about and see if somebody comes. If they don't, I'll just take the picture, but sometimes it does pay to be patient. Right, got that photograph. A fellow photographer had his tripod with him. One of the things we have to consider in shooting in these conditions, especially when it's foggy, the contrast is not as high as you think. The contrast range is quite low, so we're going to end up getting, you know, low contrast negatives, which is good for this type of photography, because we don't want to lose the mood and the feel of the time of day that we're taking the picture, in this case lower light and in fog. Now when we take the picture, the density of the negative is controlled by the exposure. So if we give too little exposure, we're going to get low density in the highlights, we're going to lose shadow detail. If we give too much exposure, we'll get too much density in the highlights, but we'll get quite a lot of detail in the shadows, but the highlights will become hard to control. So assuming that we use a correct metering technique, now with this camera I know that it usually produces really good exposures, so that's not a problem for me. Where you have to really think about the contrast of the picture is in the development process. Now we can control the development in many ways by using different developers and developing techniques, but one of the main things is agitation, how often we agitate the tank when the developer is developing, when the film is in the tank developing. The more agitation we give will increase the contrast, but we don't want to push that contrast too far, so it spoils the ambience of the picture that we're taking. So in this situation that I'm in today with this fog, as you can see, I don't want to lose that feel, that atmosphere, so I'm not going to over agitate, and I'm going to then control the actual contrast in the editing part of the photograph. Now I scan mine, so it's quite easy to control that contrast. If you're in a dark room, you've got if you're using variable contrast papers, you could use different grades of paper to help you control that contrast as well. So there's ways of doing it either digitally or in the dark room. But the idea to try and not, for me, to ruin the actual feel of the day that you're taking the pictures, you have to try and get that across. So it's all a bit of an experiment, but I'm not going to over agitate, and I'm going to keep the contrast down to a level where I won't have much editing to do with these pictures, hopefully. So we'll see. Now I've just seen these reeds in this picture, and I think these will make a nice picture, but I think what I'm going to have to do is get the background out of focus with these. So I still think I'll use the 28mm, but use it at a wider aperture, and rather using the hyperfocal distance, I'll actually focus on them. So let's see if I can find a decent composition. Right, I think I've found a composition on this. I'm going to focus on this branch here. I'm going to open it up to f4, focus on this, and then hopefully the rest is going to go slightly out of focus. Well, it will do, and I've got this nice soft backdrop. So I'm going to do it in portrait format, so it's going to be something like that, and hopefully that's going to turn out. This is all part and parcel and fun of photography, is just walking about and trying to find compositions and pictures that we can make some decent black and white images of. Right, so I'll take this picture now, and then again, if it turns out, I'll show you it. Found another image that I quite like, and again we've got this tree in the background that's shrouded in mist, just showing through, but then we've got this lot darker that's not in the mist, vegetation that's growing up, and that's going to add some nice structure and shape to the image. So I've got the waist level finder on the Pentax LX, so I'm just going to get it so I can look down at the image and get lower. It makes it a lot easier for me, and get the focus probably onto these nearer twigs going up, and then see what we can come up with. I want to throw the background slightly out of focus, so I'll probably be working again at f8, but focusing closer, so we will get that little bit of out of focus. So I'll take the picture now. I must say it's really lovely to get out with the camera and walk about. I've not done this for quite a few weeks now. I'll tell you what, it's had an effect on my fitness. I'm getting exhausted walking about, but I really am enjoying it, and I think I can feel I'm getting my mojo back. Now, I quite like this. There's something about this tree that I like. I think it's just a textural quality in it. So I might see if I can find some sort of composition and see what we can come up with this. Again, I think I'll still use the 28mm. I don't know if I'm pointing the camera up or what, but we'll just have a walk around and see what we can find. Now we're just approaching the sort of summit, as you might say, of the Chevin, where all the rocks are. Beautiful atmospheric day this. So if I can see any pictures there of the rocks. There we have the rocks. Yeah, quite nice. You might get a picture here. So I'll get the camera set up and see what I can come up with. Now I've just noticed this tree. For some reason it reminds me of a cactus tree that you see in the desert. It's nothing like one, but it reminds me of one. But I think it's what it is. It's the contrast, the darkness of this tree against this foggy background. So I'm going to take a picture of it. But I'm going to do it in this format. And I think what will make the picture is the actual contrast itself. So I'll take the picture and see if I'm right. Right, my GoPro has run out of power. I've used 3 batteries, but don't seem to have lasted very long this cold weather. So I'll switch to the iPhone. Not much power in this, so this is what I call a direction finder. It's right at the top of the Otley shelving, and I've taken pictures of it many times before. So I thought I'd try and come up with something different. So I've photographed it, and I've got a person walking in this corner up here, so it might just make a more interesting picture, with this being a direction finder and him being a shadowy sort of figure walking away. I thought it might make some sort of connection, but we'll see. Right, for this picture, so it's a bit awkward with the iPhone, I'm going to have this path leading up on the right hand side, and then the tree to the left hand side, and we'll see how that turns. I'm going to do it in portrait format, again using a 28mm with the orange filter. So I'll take the picture now and see if it works. Down low with this to accentuate the shape of the path going up into the mist. Now this is going to be the last video of me walking about. I have to go to Otley yet, but the GoPro's let me down and my phone's nearly dead, so I'll show you the pictures if I take any more up here, and hopefully this one will turn out. So the next time I'll see you is in my dark room come office. So this picture of the tree and the wall was the last picture that I took on the Otley shelving. From there I loaded another roll of Kodak Tri-X into the Pentax LX and had a walk around my hometown of Otley just to see what type of atmospheric pictures I could come up with, and again just testing the Adox XT-3 and the Kodak Tri-X. I'm sorry if I'm boring with too many pictures, but I have taken them, so I will show you. But I've also thrown in a little bit of Christmas spirit. Right, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the pictures and some of the information I've tried to get across. I know it's been a long video, but at least you've got something to watch on these long winter nights. Now, it's proven to me that the Adox XT-3 developer, in combination with the Kodak Tri-X, is a great pairing. The pictures that I've got that lovely gritty feel that Tri-X gives, and the Adox is basically identical, in my opinion, to the results you'd get from Kodak Xtol. So great combination. Also helped with my wonderful Pentax LX, which came with some great exposures. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like. If you have any questions, leave them below and I'll get back to you. And as I always say, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video.